Good morning. I'm so glad you're here with me again today. It's Monday morning here in Northern Illinois, and I'm Rita Hickman. I'm a shiatsu massage therapist. I'm a body-mind expert. I'm an intuitive master healer. I'm an Asian medicine energy worker. I'm a lot of really great things, and they all kind of come together. Hey, Mei Tui, nice to see you. And they all kind of come together into a practice that I use to help women to really move forward and navigate their struggles in life and what they're dealing with on a boots on the ground. You know, this is the century we live in. Technology and craziness and the stress levels through the roof, and people really imposing on us, and narcissists, and people with issues and pain, and there's just so much going on anymore. Hey, Camilla, there's so much going on anymore. And I have the great gift of being able to help women kind of navigate that so that they can survive. So this week, if you know anything about me, you realize I'm a big proponent, of course, of self-care, because, that's the only way that we're going to make it through. Hey, Lisa, great to see you. It's the only way that we're going to, keep moving forward and become the women and the people that we're meant to be. So we've got a lot of blocks to self-care, though. Good morning to you too, Lisa. We've got a lot of blocks to self-care, and that's what this week is going to be about. It's going to be all about the mindsets and the ideas and the beliefs that get in the way of us doing self-care and making sure that we can be the greatest version of ourselves possible. And I'm going to help you reframe things, because when you start looking at the world through a different lens, through a different set of eyes, you are able to move forward. You're able to get the motivation and the energy and the oomph that you need to do the things that you really want to do. Because I know there's stuff in your heart and stuff in your mind that you've been wanting to do, but you haven't been able to, because all of this other stuff has gotten in the way. And you're to the point where you just don't have any energy. You don't have any time. You don't have any focus. Your nervous system is depressed. You end up feeling paralyzed and overwhelmed and busy and distracted. And you just can't get any traction. You can't move ahead. So one of the first things that we have to work on when we want to start moving forward is looking at the beliefs we carry that get in our way, and how to rewire those, how to look at them through a different perspective so that they quit, hey Melissa, so they quit dragging us down. They quit getting in the way of being the version of our best self that we can. So there's been, self-help books and Hay House and Wayne Dyer and all of that stuff around for, a very long time. And one of the biggest challenges I have with a lot of the self-help books is they don't go back to boots on the ground. This is really what we're living in. Instead, they tend to fast forward to about 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps ahead of where people really are at. They talk about compassion, which is great. Compassion is so important. But when you're overwhelmed by how you feel, you've got no ability to feel compassionate anymore. Or they talk about having positive messages in your mind. When you feel so tired and overwhelmed and in pain and frustrated, how are you supposed to have any sort of positive thoughts? How are you supposed to have hope for the future? It's not possible. So many of the self-help books and many of the programs that are out there, they focus on a beautiful higher ideal. But what they don't focus on is where people really are at, what they're really dealing with, and what women are really dealing with, in order to move forward and survive. So today we're going to talk about one of the biggest blocks to you doing self-care. Mainly, you don't have good enough reasons to love yourself. You don't have good enough reasons to take care of yourself first. You look at all the reasons outside of yourself, and you give them so much power. We give them so much power, and we say, well, this is more important, or that was more important. It was how we were raised and trained, and it's how you get along with society, actually. You've probably been learned to give, and you've been a giver for a long time, just sort of waiting. Hey, Ronnie, nice to see you. Just sort of waiting for the giving to be reciprocated. Well, you're only going to be given to when you find other givers who are not stressed out and out of control. Right now, they're in short supply. So you have to be the biggest giver to yourself. Now, why should you give to yourself first? Why should you make sure your own needs are met? Mainly because when you're exhausted, when you're overwhelmed, when you're tired, when you're in pain, you don't have any ability, hey Doug, you don't have any ability to have compassion for anybody. You don't have any ability to have kindness, to do the generous acts. When you feel like your body is falling apart because it's not getting its needs met, it's not getting its food and water and nutrition and nurturing and care and compassion, then there's nothing you can do for anybody else. It's a real struggle. I have a very close friend in my life right now, and they're a very, very good person. But what happens is when they're stressed out, they fall back into their patterns of narcissism, back into manipulation and control in order to try to feel better about themselves. So we become the very things that we hate when we are stressed out. We become the unkind, inflexible, impatient, intolerant, mean people that we never wanted to be. We start becoming bullies. We start attacking people. We start expressing ourselves in ways which are inappropriate. Because what's happening is we are not doing the things that keep us feeling good. And so we get hijacked by our most primitive system, our limbic system. So what people don't understand is as soon as you're under a little bit of stress, what happens is your rational mind checks out and your limbic system, your feeling self checks in, that fight or flight. It's fight, flight, freeze, or faint. But it's a very reactionary, primitive, human, biological sort of thing. And it hijacks you. When you don't get enough of what your physical self needs, enough of what your emotions need, and your mind needs, then what happens is you turn into the very monster. You turn into the very person that you never aspired to be, you know? And maybe it doesn't come out by screaming at people or manipulating people. Maybe it comes out by you destroying yourself, by your body destroying itself. So now you've got health issues, and the people who do love you don't know what to do. They can't help because it's you destroying you. Because we were brought up to believe that good people sacrifice everything for everybody else. At least I was in my, twisted sort of upbringing. I was taught that the smartest, best thing to do is put your whole focus on helping the other people around you feel good. And that's really important. That's super important. But the problem with that is then we as women especially get so depleted. We become so empty and we've got nothing left to give. And when we don't have much to give, then we start sabotaging and destroying everything around us. If you want to avoid imploding, if you want to avoid exploding, if you want to feel like a human being again, if you want to feel as if you're connected and lovable and loved, if you want to feel like you're your highest version of yourself, you have to start with getting your basic needs met. And if you can't get them met from the people who are already in your life, you have to find people who can help you get them met, who can be there for you. One of the main reasons I've been able to survive through high, extreme levels of stress is because I put a priority of honoring what I need and how I feel. And because I make that a priority, it lets me be present to everybody else. It lets me stay relatively stable. It helps me navigate a situation and also direct the energy of an experience that's going on so that it doesn't become horrible for everybody. When I make sure that my needs are met, when my stress level stays dialed down, then I can be the highest version of myself, the most loving, caring, compassionate, flexible, tolerant, giving, and wonderful version of myself, because I've got more than enough to give to other people. When you don't have anything left, it means you don't have anything left to give, and eventually you destroy yourself. And what's the purpose of that? To destroy yourself? What's this life here for? It's certainly not here to waste. It's here to make the most of it. And the way that we make the most of it is not by running after experiences or ways to feel better. It's about authentically feeling good. And when you authentically feel good, you're able to become that version of Mother Teresa, that version of Gandhi, that version of, Martin Luther King, that version of Jesus, that you're able to become that version that you've always wanted to be, because you're able to be that. You can't give from an empty well. You just really can't. And so one of the biggest blocks to self-care is giving permission. And I give you permission, because if you don't get your needs met, you cannot help meet anybody else's needs, especially the people that matter the most to you. So get your needs met. Drink that water. Go for the walk. Take the sick day. All right? Set the boundaries. Make sure you eat the chocolate and you get your needs met, because only when you do that can you really be that light and that beauty and that love that you always wanted to be. Okay? So no matter where you're seeing this, email or YouTube or Facebook, please leave a comment. Let me know how you're thinking and feeling. Send some love my way. Send some love to the whole tribe so that we all know that we're in this together. And I'm looking forward to a week of starting to reframe and think about life and love and beauty and self-care in a whole different way, in a way that finally gives you permission to do the things that you need to do so that you can be the person that you want to be. All right? So have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.